just like the defensive side on this map. That's where Wichita Wolves are going to be starting. Arial Arise, of course, opting for the attack on this generally considered attacker-sided map. So they would start, by all intents and purposes, in the advantage if this map stays consistent to the way it's played throughout the stage.
Yeah, the one thing I'm a little bit worried about concerning Wichita Wolves Bank is both times they've played it, I mean, they won, but they didn't look great doing it.
Yeah.
It was more that the other team just looked worse. So I don't know how good Wichita Wolves Bank actually is. Again, they won it twice, but Arial Rise have kept it hidden. So they could just completely blow us out of the water, for all we know. And they do have 2 Brazilian players, and we know how much Brazilians used to love their bank. Fans are now in: Hibana, Thatcher, Cade, Valkyrie.
The Hibana ban is always something I keep an eye on, especially from a team that is starting out on the defensive side. Because the Hibana ban, generally, that is targeting the hatch play. On Bank, there is a lot of opportunity for hatch play. You've got a hatch over in Square. You've got a hatch, several hatches in open area and small office. You've got a hatch over in main lobby, dropping down towards jail in that main vault area, right? So many hatches and so many opportunities for the attackers to use that will no longer be available to them. The question is, how are the defensive teams going to play around this, especially the Wolves? They are the ones who banned the Hibana. On defense, are they going to reinforce those hatches like would be sensible, or are we going to see a strat that other teams like to bring out, which is opening some of those hatches and playing aggressive on that roam, which would, again, defy kind of that purpose of the Hibana ban. So it's something, again, we're getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves here with exactly what defensive strategy the Wolves are going to bring out, especially when it comes to that basement site, because for now, we are going to be starting here in Tellers and Archives, a site that is been pretty consistently played here on Bank, and one that is very heavily dependent on top floor play.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, Tellers, ever since Bank's inception, it used to be the secondary site, and then CEO got better, and then it kind of became the tertiary. Don't really know how it stacks up right now, though, of course, with the new changes. People are still figuring out sites. People play different sites in different orders all the time. People even been going to open area, so who knows? We'll have to see. Wichita Wolves are employing the Echo and the Maestro combo, so they have plenty of intel in and around the site, as well as that all-important plant denial to work themselves off of. Jaeger and Goyo as well, to ensure that those shields that Goyo and the Echo are bringing, again, the Maestro too, all that utility is going to be soaked up and hopefully, increases the longevity of things like those Evil Eye cams, and of course just the Mute to round things out with, Mute is a very, hey, why not operator, right? A lot of strats specifically will call for the Mute, but there's also a lot of times where if you already have everything you need, you might as well bring a Mute. And already, Wichita Wolves starting things off well. Duo swinging on the top square player, Gomez. He'll go down first.
Yeah, we've talked a lot today about timing, and that is a perfect example of when the timing goes really well and when it's used really well from a particular team. That was a well-played double swing, making sure to secure that kill on that outside player sitting on the balcony. Mohes as well will strike second, removing Kento, taking down these first 2 really big fraggers from this team. Now that if you're Arial, you are really hoping to make up in a dramatic fashion, and not sure if that's going to be possible right now. We are 90 seconds into this round, and Arial Rise are barely even in the building. Both Wimpy and Diaz still sit outside on the rappel. I think Beastly has just barely entered in that main lobby area. Yes, he has. So, barely any progress made here, and with 2 of your big guns and your space makers, again, using that word, 2 of your space makers gone, they're going to have a lot of trouble in fighting their way back here. Now they're splitting up and attempting to go for something sort of towards the basement here. Wimpy and Diaz creeping in the dirt tunnel, likely to creep their way up blue, and maybe a surprise play towards square? That's certainly possible, but you've got 2 players lying in wait, so I don't know if the crouch walk play is the move.
Wimpy and Diaz are just going to try and sneak in, but yeah, there's beepers there, so the defense knows. Now Diaz is going to slap down Forrest, but Callout gets an immediate refrag. Diaz will just sprint into the site. Mohes is aware of it. It's just Beastly alone. And he'll also lose to the Echo with 3K for Mo in the first round for Wichita Wolves. As the clear from Arial, I mean, it started out not great. They just tried for a risky maneuver that didn't pan out.
Other than those first two frags, Wichita Wolves didn't do a thing. I mean, obviously a great setup, no doubt. But I mean, they just sat still and waited. And that's all they really had to do. Ariel Arise seemed pretty perplexed as to what they should do after losing those first two space makers. And yeah, just being quite indecisive. Did they push towards the main lobby side? Did they want to try to take vertical control? Should they push square? And so they end up going with a two-pronged approach. Beastly, droning his team in and creeping his way in from main lobby towards tellers, and two players working their way up from Dirt's tunnel, up blue stairs, and into archives, trying to pressure the opposite side of the objective, neither which paid off much at all. So a great opening round for the Wolves, but also a troubling start for Ariel Arise. A combination of great play from the Wolves and Ariel Arise just beating themselves. A theme that just cannot be even remotely tied to this map if Ariel Arise want to win this one. Because Harrison, as we said, leading into this map, Wichita Wolves, they're fantastic at making their opponents look silly, right? So we don't know if Wichita Wolves actually are really good at this map, or their opponents just haven't been able to put together some reasonable pushes or reasonable defenses. Right now, at least it looks like the latter, with Ariel Arise struggling to get something going.
Yeah, they really did not look like they knew how to clear the typical bank upstairs roam on that site. We're going to be going to open area. This is by far and away the least played site on the map in Bank's history, though it's become a little bit more popular after the rework, thanks to removing that hatch in, the middle of the freaking room. That's not available anymore. You don't have that free line of sight down into, well, the free line of sight down into the site, I guess, if I can word that poorly. Just a little bit more favor in the defense, but it's still kind of considered the offsite. And right now you have Abonai and Freak playing very aggressively upstairs as the Maestro in the castle, attempting to hold off any clear, but there is no clear. At least, not yet. DS and Kento have started to move in, but they have not taken a single engagement so far, actually. I guess I have to take that back. I didn't notice there was a clear because it was so slow and not where we were looking. But Kento eventually walks in a janitor, takes out Freak, and that's the first kill in the way of the attack.
Yeah, it seemed that, just like you, Harrison, Freak had no idea a clear was coming. Kento was quiet enough just sitting around the other side of that janitor and conference wall that Freak just kind of waltzed out into the middle of the room, lumbering and crouch walking away, and quickly taken down by Kento. So a problem, the top floor control alleviated by Ariel Arise now that they have that pretty much under wraps. Now the vertical play begins as Diaz will begin sledging away left and right, trying to find these pesky defenders sitting below. Forrest is, well, one of those pesky defenders and is finding it difficult to stay completely hidden from the vertical and is right now just darting all over the place trying to stay alive. At least for now, it's working. Plus, all of that scurrying about has wasted a good bit of time because Ariel, an inability to find the rest of these kills on site, has them kind of frozen in place. They're not sure where the rest of these players are tucked around or if they're, extended over towards archives. And that right there is a fantastic shot, a really good long angle over towards archives. And that is going to be one player now dealt with on the side of Ariel. Kento, though, claps back yet again. A double kill for him on the round, taking down Abonai and keeping this one in a 4v3.
Yeah, so Ariel Arise keep that one-man advantage in the last 30 seconds. It took them a while to find out that Tellers was clear, but they eventually do so. It's still dangerous from Mohesi. He has a couple very nice angles, and he will land a beautiful shot onto Kento. Another kill using that very long angle through. He's even got a shield to protect his back by the doorway, but he'll get crossfired. Beastly ends up getting the kill, and now they've got to shove their way in. Gomez with one. It's a 1v3 for Callout on barely any HP. He cannot outduel Diaz. Ariel Arise, despite the best efforts of Mohesi, will take round number 2.
Tough position for the Wolves to be in there, especially, for that Echo just holding it down in kitchen, hoping to be, that critical line of defense. But it was tough. It's tough to support that position, and that's exactly what the Wolves kind of they fell into that trap of 2 players instead of maybe rotating around towards that, a short haul by the printers and trying to get an angle maybe to support that push from the doorway. They both held from the main double door between kitchen and office, or kitchen and open, excuse me. And it seemed that Arial were more than prepared for that. Once they push in and took down the Echo, they quickly wheeled around and took down the other 2 players who essentially lined up for them. So, I mean, talk about the issues in the previous round all you want, but Arial certainly remedied that very well in that round, not only taking care of the top 4 clear and dealing with the minimalist roam that Wichita Wolves were exploring for us there, but also transitioning and executing on that site properly, even though Mohesi was frying people on that incredible long angle. Eventually, just simply brute forcing their way into sight and overpowering Mohesi, who was unable to really seek support from any one of his teammates.
Arial's clear, just in general, was much better, of course, with the exception of peeking Mo. Now we go on to CEO, the resident rappel simulator site on this map.
Always
North rappel is oh so important for the attackers to hold on to, and you almost always see someone there. Now, something that's a little bit curious is, am I not mistaken? Is one of the square walls soft? Or is it just reinforced from the other side? No? Yeah, that's soft. They're actually going to open up head holes into it, interestingly enough. Okay. Maybe Mo going to be looking for more long-range gunfights all the way from Trump and Banana into that angle. Who knows? Right now, Wichita Wolves are playing pretty far afield from where you normally see the anchors set up.
Well, as you mentioned, Harrison, they want to avoid this window rappel simulator, but I don't know if they're taking that to too much of an extreme here. I mean, Freak has no way of actually supporting the players who, or actually taking care of any attackers who push into CEO. He'll have to figure out a way to work his way back into Janitor in order to do that. I think they may be relying on those Echo drones and the intel from Mohes in order to really get that done appropriately. But that's going to be tough now because Wimpy is going to come rolling through stock. I mean, thankfully for Freak, I mean, a quick headshot is found, so he won't be much of a problem anymore, but still one more player to deal with, and now that the Selma charge was able to open that wall, Kento shouldn't have too much trouble in dealing with this. I mean, it is Freak you're dealing with, though, so a player who could whip around and one-tap you at any given moment could give Kento some trouble, and that he will. He's actually going to be the aggressor in that gunfight, going for the wide swing into stock, saying goodnight to Kento, and once again, forcing Arial Arise into a terrifying 5v3 position. Last time they were in this identical situation, their attack stalled out tremendously. How are they going to remedy it this time? I only hope they just decide to get aggressive and make something happen rather than sitting outside the map and crossing their fingers.
Again, not a great clear from Arial. I'm surprised Wimpy just jumped in behind the ace charge without checking the angle that he was clearing to begin with. I guess maybe just assuming that Freak would have left, but when you assume things in Siege, it typically doesn't end up going your way. It Beastly just rappels in and sprints to his death. That leaves it all up to Diaz, who is now, in like a 4-way crossfire. He'll catch the Echo, but pay a lot of HP for it. And he's only got 25 seconds to make this happen in a 1 versus 4. He'll recover the case, but the chances of him actually getting the plant down are slim to none. And here comes Forrest. Easy finisher. 1 bullet's all he needs. Wichita Wolves hold on to the lead.
Yeah, and doing so in a nearly flawless fashion. I mean, well, not flawless because, I mean, at that point it's just empty frags, empty kills there for the last player standing. And at least preventing the flawless round is something. So add that to the resume. But it's going to be a very, very good round for the Wolves, holding down CEO with no real issue at all. Getting aggressive where they needed to, staying passive where they needed to. Pretty much as surgical of a defensive effort as you could ever put together. But now that we're 3 rounds in and we've seen 3 different sites, it's only natural, of course, that we see the 4th site. We are going to head downstairs to Lockers and CCTV, the site that now Wichita Wolves will be electing to defend. Now, this site, much like the others, is very heavily dependent on vertical play, but this site, it's not about the soft destruction, and it's more about the hatches. The hatch play that I talked a lot about coming into this matchup is going to be hindered because of the lack of a Hibana, because she was banned off. But already you could see some of these players actually reinforcing some hatches, yes, but opening some others. So providing some opportunities for defensive rotation and other opportunities to stall out the attackers if they can.
10 seconds to go.
I'm very happy that Wichita Wolves has showed us
Seconds remaining.
every single site on the map. 4 rounds, 4 sites.
Attackers are heading out to defuse.
He said they are going to extend all the way up to the top floor. Bank roams have become decently commonplace on the bottom floor site. I remember back when the basement site used to be, if you didn't bunker down, you were trolling. But roams have become much more accepted and much better too, with recent operators such as Mozzie and Malusi and such. Capcan is also being taken by Abinai. Definitely an odd one. Capcan doesn't see a lot of play, but if Arial Arise aren't careful, you could find free damage, which is always good. Or even, you can stack multiple Capcans up on one doorway now, 2 EDDs. Arial Arise doesn't check for it, that's a kill.
Yeah, you never know when the Capcan can strike, where those EDDs are going to be placed. We saw a couple earlier, I think, placed over towards that supply closet in Square, but don't think Arial Arise are going to fall victim to that just yet. Wimpy appears to be just fine as he works his way towards this position. More than that, he's using those Selma charges to perfection, opening up that angle into kitchen. That can look all the way towards open area, so they've got more angles to work with, and a couple of good cutoffs to prevent anyone from Wichita Wolves either coming back up to retake or rotating away from this roam. Freak, one of these players who attempted a brief retake, will be stopped by Kento's watchful eye as he keeps his watch trained on the main stairs, and he prevents any sort of retake attempt from Freak. So still sitting in this even 5v5, Forrest taking a lot of damage, but a great shot through the barricade removes Beastly, taking down the Thermite, taking off this hard support player for good. Now Abunai, the next player to get pressured, he will fall all the way back down after utilizing that C4, or really more so wasting that C4. So things will be at least looking better for Arial on this clear, but not quite yet in terms of the man count.
Especially the Capcan trap as well, hitting Gomez. I don't know if you noticed that when he moved into Archives. He'll be down to half HP, on to 50 HP. And Arial Arise have to figure out how the hell they're going to clear into the objective with 40 seconds left. Now, luckily for them, there's only one C4 they have to deal with in the pocket of Mo. Abinai already used his. There is no smoke they have to deal with, nor is there a Mira. So it's not impossible. It's just going to be really, really hard. And Wimpy is going to end up opening the vault hatch, in fact. So this is looking like a back take. Gomez exposes himself, though, to Abinai holding on to elevator, and well, unfortunately for Wimpy, I guess he can't get that hatch open. Only one Selma went off. Pento is now at the bottom of main stairs. He'll lose his fight to Abinai, traded back by Diaz, but I don't know how much good that's going to do when your teammate's dead and you've only got 9 seconds. Wichita Wolves take round number 4, just so they can hold on to their lead, extending it by 2 rounds.
Not only that, but so far they are defying the attacker-sided standard that we have come to understand of this map of Bank. I mean, Arial Arise, they wanted to start out on the attack. They probably agreed with us and saw the troubling pattern of Wichita Wolves' defenses in the previous weeks. So, yeah, I mean, Wichita Wolves, they're looking good right now. They're putting together some very solid defensive efforts, and even though we are now seeing stronger and stronger Arial Arise attacks round after round as they are adapting and learning from these defensive setups, we're also seeing even stronger Wichita Wolves defenses as well. So really countering the potential success of Arial Arise and not even allowing pretty solid attacks to work out either. A 3-1 lead, a very good place to be this early in this map.
Yeah, defensive wins are oh so important on Bank with the way that it started to shape up in recent times. We're going to go back to Teller's office archives, where Wichita Wolves started this map out with a win, and it honestly really looked like Arial Arise just didn't know how to clear. So hopefully now that they've seen the site once, they've got a better idea of how to do it, because last time it was a fairly pathetic effort.
5
Of course, you got to start with top floor. I think it was who was it got swung on? Someone got swung on like top square. I think it may have been Gomez. I doubt Wichita Wolves are going to be playing as aggressively, as far forward, peeking windows outside and stuff like that. Maybe, they'll let Arial Arise in the building before the fragging starts. But again, I'm just hoping that Arial Arise have learned from their mistakes.
Yeah, we'll see here, as they begin this assault. Looks like Wimpy and Diaz will both be making their way to this top floor to begin that clear. We'll have to deal with what seems like a pretty weak hold for the most part. Not a ton of utility devoted to this. Just, you've got Abonai sitting in the close front office corner. You've got, I believe you had Freak upstairs as well, playing on that Vulcan shield just outside of stock. And Forrest sitting close behind as well. So threefold on this top floor hold. And, well, it's going to work for now, at least at lighting up Kento. He'll take quite a bit of damage there, and Mo will actually further that, finishing off the Yana completely. Kento being very much shut down this map so far, and that pattern continuing here in round number 5. Abonai will be dropped, though. One of the players on this top floor will be felled, or at least taken to the down but not out state, and Forrest coming out with the shotgun will quickly get another kill for his team. At least Arial are playing together this time, though, so a trade is found, and the mute is silenced, but this one is still essentially an even 3v3 because it looks like Abonai not going to be recovered.
It's still anyone's game, but as I say that, they don't know about the Goyo. Diaz will eventually get the finish onto Abonai, but here's the peek from Freak left unchecked. He'll get one, but Wimpy has fast enough reaction to get the trade. It's now the two hard breachers against the two anchors. Ace and Thermite versus Maestro and Echo. What a storyline we have within this round, and the attackers have a minute to get things going. They've got breaching charges still, so vertical play is, it's doable, it's workable, it's not impossible. But, not a lot of angles he can create with that, and Mo can very easily avoid them. Call It is also far afield in open area, as Beastly starts crawling his way up blue. And I'm wondering if they're going to go for, similar push like they did on Kitchen, where they tried just walking up blue stairs, and this time turning their sights over towards Teller, just pushing through the doorway. They're going to have to worry about the crossfire that Callout can hold, though, because there are holes in that square wall, and using it, Callout will get a kill onto Wimpy. That leaves Beastly in a 1 versus 2. He'll take a bullet through the wall, and he's very scared to push in. I believe there's pings going out on him as well, and that'll give Callout the kill. In fact, a trade. Mo is still up, and that'll be another round for Wichita.
Now extending that lead to 4-1, and now, having gone to every single bomb site, they know exactly where they're headed next. No question they're going to be going to CEO after that success because, of course, the other site that they had an option to go to, Open and Kitchen, yeah, they didn't win that site, so I don't expect to see it coming out from them. They are, Arial Arise are going to take their tactical timeout here as they've now fallen to a 3-round deficit on the attacking side, and once more, that is their preferred side here on Bank, and generally preferred side of many teams, and I expect of the Wichita Wolves, just given the way they've played this map in the past. Arial Arise are in for a heck of a nasty surprise when they get to the defensive half as well, but still one more round to get to before we can talk about that.
Yeah, Arial Arise, I mean, again, they haven't banned this map. They've been leaving it up, but I'm wondering if the only reason it's being left up is because their opponents ban it for them, because they look just lost right now. Like, it's not even Wichita Wolves significantly like outplaying them or anything like that. Arial Arise, their clears are just not great. Looks like they don't know how to do it properly. People are solo entering, getting caught off guard by unexpected positions that should honestly be kind of expected. People just getting swung on. I mean, Kento walking into lobby and getting killed from the teller's doorway. Like, what is that about? Arial Arise simply do not look great on this map, and I guess we'll continue the trend of Wichita Wolves Bank. I don't know if it's that great or not, because Arial Arise just look bad.
I mean, at some point, we've got to just give up with that storyline and just say, I guess the Wolves are incredible here, because every team that could possibly decide to take them here have been made to look foolish. And eventually, that pattern should be quantified and named eventually. But again, this map is still underway. It's not quite over yet, but the reason we are taking it this far is it just does seem that it is looking like a Wichita Wolves map, to say the least. After this timeout, we're going to need to see some pretty substantial adjustments from Arial Arise here, not only in this final attacking round that they need to win, but on their defensive half. They are going to have to pull out a miracle defensive sided bank if they want to take this one, at the very least, to overtime and keep this fight alive for a bit longer. But as I said earlier, we are going to be here on CEO, this top floor that last time the Wichita Wolves were able to defend successfully, in part because of two very good opening picks, but also just a very clean hold of this entire site. They didn't put anybody necessarily actively defending the site itself, but they had multiple players over in the long haul. One player on that deployable shield sitting outside of stock. Last time it was Freak on the Wamai, who was decimating Arial Arise, but this time it's going to be Forest on the Wamai, likely to take up a similar position. Janitor as well. Those walls are very important because it's going to allow Forest, or potentially that player behind that deployable shield, which may be Freak, to rotate around and deny the plant when the time comes.
Ooh, no, actually, okay. We'll double up on this wall. They'll bandit it to make sure that Forest, I assume it's going to be Forest playing the position, is even safer. Another thing that we can point out is Arial Arise, right? Have swapped onto IQ. Because Wichita Wolves have been playing Echo almost every single round. But for some reason, they've suddenly decided they will forego that operator. So the IQ pick, definitely not going to be as impactful as Arial Arise probably had hoped. So it will spot out that the same shield is being played by the Wamai. I imagine they'll have a similar plan of attack for it. The only troubling thing, though, is that there's bandit batteries on it, on the wall, so you can't just easily ace it open and deny the shield.
Yeah, there's a lot of utility to clear out there as well. I mean, the Wamai in play with 6 magnets to throw out over the course of the round. If you don't deal with this soon, that is 6 more pieces of utility that are going to be snatched right out of the air. Plus, you've got Abonai with those ADSs to make that even more of a challenge to get done. Now, this round will once again open up with a kill from the Wichita Wolves. That one onto Kento, who is yet again silenced. 2 and 6, and he's had 2 kills pretty much since the first or second round of this map. Can't help but wonder if that is a pretty substantial reason why Arial Arise have just been unable to get much momentum going at all. And with that, they're going to now be forced to make, some adjustments as always. One of those adjustments, it seems, is not pressuring stock whatsoever. We're seeing a lack of pressure towards Freak or Forest, who's behind that stock deployable shield. Instead, that pressure is elsewhere, but that pressure, right now at least, is pretty weak.
Yeah, losing Kento early on and losing a lot of HP on Wimpy is not great. There's not a lot that Arial Arise have to show for it other than an open-ish wall. We will go ahead and ace open Janitor, so the position is no longer safe for Freak. He'll have to shove his way out of there. Really, all Arial Arise have going for them are these repels. That's kind of it.
They're all here.
They're just all on the repel. I thought I saw an orange... Nope, never mind. All 4 of them are on the repel. Diaz and Wimpy will duo swing in. They'll be met with an but the can't do enough damage and allow Wimpy in for the plant. The coverage is there. Gomez with 1 kill, Beastly with another, and the plant will be completed by Wimpy as Gomez finds his second. Wimpy does get taken down by Freak hitting the back, and he does get the player out the doorway too. Freak putting up the numbers right now. Diaz and Gomez are still in a 2v2, and look at this. Gomez is outside. He knows that eventually one of these defenders will have to run out at him, and it's going to have to be Abonai. He'll get the run out, but unfortunately for him, he just doesn't have time. He was banking on Freak winning his own gunfight in the bomb site, but this round is lost. Arial Arise finally take a second point after their timeout, and it'll be a 4-2 half for Wolves.
Now, the 4-2 half still secured, though, is a great place to be. I think that Arial Arise will be more than happy to take that round win, leaving us with a little question mark in the end of that decision. But as you highlighted, Harrison, there really wasn't much else left to do from the Wolves. You have to commit somebody to the jump out, and you have to commit somebody to taking care of that indoor player. And unfortunately, only one of those kills was found, not the second. So now we transition over to the Wichita Wolves attacking half, a half that they have proven they can be very lethal on, but we also get a chance to see this Arial Arise defense on bank for the first time. Because who knows, given the ridiculous outcomes and just craziness we've seen over the, now we're on our, 11th map of the day, this could absolutely be a defensive sided bank. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, of course,
Attackers
it's
need to
very
locate
possible.
and defuse
We only
bombs.
ever say attacker sided because that's what usually happens. There are always outliers. Ariel Arise will bring out the Mira for their downstairs defense, as well as Castle, Mozzie, Vigil, Legion. Plenty of drone denial, plenty of area denial, plenty of lines of sight being going to be cut off
Attackers
by
have
that
detected the
castle.
location of a
And
bomb.
again, roams, very commonplace on a bank basement hold nowadays. They just have that Mira for some added security on the site. They try rushing in over towards the CCTV side of things. Beastly will be there to meet them.
Seconds left.
The thing I'm worried about is we have seen Wichita Wolves know how to clear, right? They've played this map before, and although their opponents didn't look very good and they were committing a bunch of mistakes themselves, they at least looked like they knew at very minimum what they were doing. Ariel Arise didn't really look like that on the attack. But defense is, of course, considered on a lot of maps to be the quote-unquote easier side. But Wichita Wolves already pushed 2 people down. No, I thought they were going to go into garage, but I guess instead they'll go lobby, and the entire attacking team effort will be focused on clearing the realm.
Well, that roam takes the form of Kento and Wimpy mainly, 2 of these aggressive gunners with these aggressive gunning operators. They haven't been, super gun up and actually successful in getting these kills, at least on the attacking side. That's mostly been left up to Diaz, but now that they transition to defense, who knows what kind of pain is about to be unleashed on this Wichita Wolves attack. Wimpy looks to be the first to strike, eyes on this player towards main lobby. 2 players, in fact, as he tries to line them up, but no shots will connect just yet. Reek wary of a player from above, as will Abonai. He will keep an eye on that, trying to put a finger on where these final few defenders are located, but they've in fact mostly all rotated back to the site. I'm taking a look at this top floor, and actually nobody is here, so Abonai will feel more than comfortable to sledge away. They will now try to pressure out this first floor, because that is where these remaining roamers reside. Couple still to find. The rest remain on the site itself. But this is taking the Wolves quite a while here. Still worried about this top floor. It's not going to get them much ground right now. They need to focus on taking this first floor control, and they will finally do that. A fight onto Gomez from above will actually barely allow Gomez to sneak away, but here comes a player dropping down into square, and Forrest only finds himself in his grave. Good trade, though, is found from above, but now we are under 60 seconds, and the Wichita Wolves are still working this roam clear and still have a lot of work to do here, a ton.
And Wimpy is going to start falling back now along with Kento, but do they know Mo is in the garage? Well, they certainly do now, as Kento is cut down nearly a second for Mo. Beastly just keeps re-swinging. The C4 eventually finds the trade, and Kento will be recovered. Diaz, well, he's still upstairs. Only 30 seconds left. Diaz is going to have to make this flank happen soon, especially as Kento gets taken out. The castle needs to make his move. Wimpy is holding on to elevator. Freak eventually goes down. There's the impact we needed from Diaz, but Wimpy can't connect all the shots on the callout. Now they know where he is. In comes Abonai to help. He's got the assist, but callout's the one with the case. He needs to get out of elevator, and he'll die to Wimpy. The sledge now lit up. He's worried about too many angles at once. Wimpy gets another, and Ariel Arise take their first defense.
And a strong one at that, utilizing the roam to its full capability, and maybe not your traditional roam either. A roam that barely involved that top floor for more than 30 seconds of the round, focused on just holding extended positions on that first floor instead. It wasn't an aggressive roam by any means. It was very, very passive. And what they did is they forced the Wolves to really just search out those defenders and find and put a finger on what the heck they're dealing with. Eventually, the Wolves were able to do that, but it took them a long time. It cost them a lot of utility, a lot of bodies, and by the time they were able to actually start working their way
Attackers need to
onto the
locate
site
and defuse the
below,
bomb.
it was everything was depleted that they needed working for them. That was a textbook extension from Arial, something that they need to continue to bring out if they want to make this comeback and eventually take
Bomb located
this
by
win. They're going to head upstairs now, a site that is going to be much more challenging to extend on, though. So their ability to play defense on this map is going to be tested right off the bat.
Ariel Rise will also don the Echo that we saw from Wichita Wolves. In fact, the running lineup, very, very similar here on CEO, with the exception of this. DS will push all the way over towards Elevator with a shield of his own, even assisted by an Evil Eye to watch into main lobby. So, quite the interesting extension here from Ariel Rise. They've also, of course, got the Echo Drone to watch the staircase as a double up with that Evil Eye, because the Evil Eye will eventually probably be cleared out at some point. Wimpy's even got a little bit of an escape plan for himself. Wichita Wolves, don't look like they are going to go full repel. Yay.
Yeah, approaching from both sides right now and trying to implement a little bit of a clear on the top floor, rather than, like you said, Harrison, just putting every attacking energy into just getting on windows and sitting there for the remainder of the round. Good impact trick actually coming out here towards these Selma charges. Another one will be successful. And that, I do believe, was the final Selma charge.
Yeah.
Yes, the final charge from Forest, limiting heavily a line of sight that they were certainly looking to establish here. Now, unable to do that, they're going to have to pivot once more and rotate around, figuring out a different way to deal with Kento, and here's a perfect solution. Just flame him out. Just hotbox the elevator, and he will be forced out to drop down below. Abonai will quickly clean him up, and a great start. Maybe it's a little bit late, but a great start nonetheless for Wichita. They've got this opening blow. Now 2 opening blows, in fact, as Mohes will claim the life of Gomez. The next player that stands in their way is perched up above on a table right now, looking down the staircase. That's Diaz, who's hoping to get this back for his team, but that is not going to be allowed to happen just yet.
Minute 15, Wichita Wolves have an ample amount of time to get this lobby push going. It looks like Ariel Arise read into the push that Wichita Wolves wanted to go for, but Wichita Wolves adapted around it quite well, quite adeptly. Diaz is now tucked in behind the desk. I was about to talk about Wimpy's position and how important that could be, but he'll get cut down, and in fact, all of them just die. Not a single person on the defense wins their fight. Wichita Wolves take a flawless round, and again, while Ariel Arise were set up seemingly perfectly to counter that push, Wichita Wolves' adaptation, I mean, the one weakness of that is your Wamai is playing in Trump. So Capitao can just do his thing for free. That is very tight squeeze for Kento that he could not get out of.
Impressive turn of events in that round, Harrison. I mean, that one went from 90 seconds of Wichita Wolves being completely and utterly denied from the attacking plan that they had initially concocted, and that quickly shifted into the next 90 seconds of utter dominance where they didn't lose a single player along the way. Quite a mid-round adaptation, I've got to say, and that's exactly the kind of thing you're looking for on a map that is less established in the current meta. I mean, as far as all the maps we've got in this pool, Bank is one of the most OG competitive maps you're ever going to find, but with all of the new operators in play and with all of the new styles of play, it is still developing in this most recent stage. And it seems that right now, given this advantage that the Wichita Wolves still hold, even though it may be a minimal advantage, they clearly have a little bit better of an understanding of exactly what they're doing on this map, and at least how to adapt in the mid-round when faced with whatever sort of adversity Ariel Arise decide to throw at them here. But Ariel now, with an unsuccessful CEO defense, they will be pivoting once again. This time, we're going to see their open and kitchen area defense, and seeing exactly how they can pull this one off.
Again, open area, an interesting site. They're not going to hold where Mo was with that shield, so if they start pushing in from square, BC will be very exposed. Of course, just like any good attack on this bomb site, Wichita Wolves is going to start out with the top floor clear. Of course, Abenai is going to be very important once they get all of that control. But Arial Arise, they not have an upstairs hold? Is this full horizontal? I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. It is full horizontal.
Okay. Putting a lot of stock into just being able to outfrag, I guess, the Wolves when it comes down to this site itself. But the question is, how quickly will the Wolves take advantage of this? And I guess we have our answer. Takes them about 60, 70 seconds. They're already in this top floor. Abenai more than happy to sledge to his heart's content and begin this vertical pressure. I mean, without this play from Arial, I mean, this should be a fantastic opening start for the Wolves, and right now it looks like it is. A C4 from Kento could change the course of this round. He'll look to use some intel, not just blindly using that C4, and perfectly timed as well. Unfortunately for him, it will not get the fatal blow he required, nor will that second C4. That was actually Diaz on the initial C4 to blow, and Kento with the second. But Abenai able to be picked up back in this fight. That's actually going to enable Forrest to drop on in and get aggressive. A swing that Diaz was not ready for. Kento had no idea that Mohesti was coming either. And 2 opening picks now for the Wolves. A third now that Freak takes down Gomez. It's just Wimpy and Beastly alone.
Perfectly played off the Lions. EE1D and the lack of vertical control from Arial Arise comes back to haunt them. Nothing stopping those players from just dropping in. Mo gets a second for himself, and that leaves Wimpy in a 1 versus 5. And look at this. They know just where he is. They'll even... Forrest will even whip ace charges at him as Abenai gets the finisher. Forrest is such a troll. And, 6-3. Quite the lead for Wichita Wolves here. Arial Arise will need a perfect site rotation if they want any hope in this map.
That is also back-to-back flawless rounds, by the way. That
Yeah.
is incredibly impressive. And, well, I may have gotten ahead of myself with how close this map was. We only saw that first Wichita Wolves attack that didn't look too great. But since then, yeah, they've come back in the pretty much the best way possible, delivering not 1, but 2 completely flawless rounds back-to-back. So once again, the onus falls on Arial to make some pretty substantial changes here, because if not, they will be staring down a map 3 decider in no time to figure out who ends up going to that winner's bracket final matchup against One Shot in due time. Now, heading downstairs to the basement here. That's what Arial are trying to do here. The first time or the second time we're seeing them do this. Of course, the first time they were here, they took the win. Wichita Wolves, they just did not have the same attacking prowess that they've showcased in the back-to-back previous rounds here, but I suspect that we are going to see a very different version of this Wolves attack now that they've got the confidence back on their side, now that they've got this map now working for them, the intel working for them. It's just a matter of time, I suppose, and we'll have to see how long Arial can stall it out.
10 seconds to go.
Well, at least this is the one site that Arial Arise has been successful on. Once again, setting up a roam, though it was really close. It was down to the wire in a 2 versus 2.
Defender has been discovered.
Oh, wow, that is an old spawn peek from Wimpy. I remember when Docs and Rooks would walk out that doorway and pretty much slam anyone spawning jewelry in street side. So, kind of glad Wimpy's not going to get anything from that. But, still, point stands. It's a pretty similar roam, only this time they have a Melusi rather than a Legion. They still have a little bit of C4 presence. No one all the way on the top floor, so they'll give all that control to Wichita Wolves. Or sorry, Kento's on the top floor, but it's just him. And he's probably likely playing more for a fallback rather than he is for the fights. So as I say that, he's just been left undroned. They'll pounce on Abenai, and a big part of why Wichita Wolves were able to force back the roamers in the previous round, that sledge enacting the vertical control onto the first floor roamers, is now dead, as is Freak. The Zoe. Kento is tearing it up on the top floor. I said he might just play for the fallback, but he is playing here with his life. He wants these kills. He wants these fights, and he'll get a third. Kento is absolutely running amok on the top floor. Finally, Wimpy will be shut down. There's something back, but Gomez with the instant trade has the cover of his teammate. Now it's just Mo. poor roam clear from Wichita Wolves, poor drone work will result in a clutch situation for him. He'll grab one, but there's still 3 more to go.
Yeah, this one's gonna be tough. He's got 13 kills, so clearly he's feeling good, but 3 more players to find without the diffuser in hand and less than 50 HP. Yeah, that's not gonna happen easily, and Beastly will make that certain. Now, I know the Wolves couldn't see what we were able to see in the beginning of the round from Arial Arise, but it was very clear the intention of Arial Arise in that round from the get-go. They're down 6-3. It's match point on a map they're clearly not comfortable on. I'm pretty sure what they just said to each other was, let's just run around and just screw the strats and just win gunfights, right? I mean, we saw that right away with the spawn peak. That came out quite aggressively. Then we saw it by the fact that both Kento and Gomez were just running amok on that top floor. I mean, they were going this way and that. They were trying to take gunfights. They were trying to fight for, I'm honestly, their lives in this map. And sometimes throwing the strats out the window and allowing yourselves to just frag out and play loose is a good solution. Do I think it's going to work for the next 2 rounds in a row? Frankly, no, I do not. But I think it's a good attempt and kind of the only chance that Arial now have to bringing this one back is to just pull out all the stops, pull out all the surprises, and at the very least, it can gain them some confidence back heading into map 3, the decider, where it is all on the line.
Need 2 rounds first, though. 2 rounds in a row. They have not been able to do in the second half just yet. Go back to open area, site they had lost without taking a single kill. It seems like they're going to run the same solution as they did last round, which was just put Kento on Vigil and let him run around. We'll see if that's a consistent factor, because, well, he was kind of frying people. He was hitting some impressive shots and playing around that Vigil scanner very well. A C4 out early from Wimpy will completely go wide to follow up the spawn peak, and that's a little bit of wasted utility early on in the round. Just Arial Arise just do not want to let up with the pressure. Wimpy, even looking to run out the window? I'm not quite sure. If he does, he can get a freebie onto Abonai, as Freak isn't currently watching, but no, Wimpy will fall back. Kind of figuring, the aggression he's already shown in the beginning of the round is probably enough.
I mean, you never know. He looks eager
to
take more of these gunfights. Yeah, I mean, he could just keep re-swinging. If not him, it could be Kento or even Gomez from below. They are just trying to take every gunfight possible. I mean, they're looking at the outcome in the last round, and they're saying, you know what? It worked. Why not try it again? The question is, how are the Wolves going to change from this, and how are they going to adapt? Are they just going to push it into the site and full send it? Yeah, it looks like that's the plan. Here comes Abonai, not the site, of course, but above, trying to just fully remove any chance that this roam has of being successful, and he's going to be decisive. He'll even surprise Wimpy, but he forgets to check Janitor, finds himself in his 6-foot grave, as does Abonai. That is, or as does Forrest, I apologize. That is a troubling start here. Freak hoping to match this aggression, but he will fail yet again. Wimpy lining up another. Kento says goodnight to call out, and it is all up to Mo Hess yet again. And this is by no fault of his own. Every single one of his teammates just decided their best course of action would be taking 1v1 gunfights and dying one at a time with no trade in sight. And yes, you just saw it correctly. A flawless round from Arial using the run and gun monkey strategy, and it pays off yet again.
Yeah, fighting fire with an even more intense fire, I guess. Completely drowning out Wichita Wolves with their aggression. And I have to say, not only was the aggression working in the favor of Arial, but that clear from Wichita Wolves was intel starved. Where was the drone work? We saw it kind of early on, maybe on the first floor, but once they actually started moving in, the sludge just assumed Janitor was cleared. No one had fully droned. I don't know if they couldn't get their drones in, or they just never bothered following up their intel, but either way, that clear was so intel starved. It was the perfect opportunity for people like Wimpy, people like Kento to strike, and Gomez even push out of the site a little bit and get aggressive. That was a flawless round through and through. Everybody on Arial Arise were hitting their shots, and Wichita Wolves looked just as bad as Arial did on their attack. And now we're down to one more round to decide whether or not we're going to a map 3 or whether we'll have to wait for that and go to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly no longer know how to feel here. I really thought that this would be quick for the Wolves, given that 6-3 lead they had stretched their way out to. And the fact that Ariel just did not have any answer, but it seems that Ariel came up with the one and only answer they had. That was just run around and start shooting people, frying people, that is, because that is exactly what every player just did in the previous round. Of course, they are still keeping some degree of, support players on the site. Not every player is running around, but at least 3 at any given moment were searching for frags and hunting for kills. That was Wimpy, that was Kento, and that was Gomez. Even Diaz got a bit cheeky in the mix there sometimes as well. But when you have 3 gunners like Gomez, Kento, and Wimpy, why not throw them around the map? A map that is, yeah, generally easier to attack, but there's a lot of map to control. And if you can circumvent those drones, or at least take advantage of poor drone work from the attacking team, job well done.
Yeah, well played by Arial. My worry is what their next site selection is going to be, because, well, CEO was not great. They are going to go to Tellers, a site they have not shown yet. I guess kind of figuring, hey, the top floor roam worked so well last time. Why don't we do it again, just on a different first floor site? Look at this. Not only do we have Wimpy reprising his role on the Mozzie, not only do we have Kento once again donning the Vigil,
Oh
but
boy.
Gomez will swap onto the Oryx. A little bit more maneuverability for him, while it's likely going to be down to DS and Beastly to hold the site.
This could get scary for the Wolves if they're not careful. If they don't tidy up that drone work, and if they don't deal with this roam effectively, they are going to be in for a world of hurt. But after this timeout, you can see one pretty obvious adjustment they're looking to make, and that's Forrest and the operator that he's choosing to bring out, the Nomad.
Seconds left.
The perfect counter to aggressive roam, the perfect counter to players who are just trying to run all over this map and wreak as much havoc as possible. Yeah, you only have a couple of air jabs to use, and this map is pretty hard to use those perfectly, but it will cut off so many choke points. And if they focus on the objective and use those air jabs as like a perfect little flank watch, they should be just fine. And they should, fit into the strategy that they've been looking to accomplish in the last few rounds. But they have to get in the building first to use those air jabs, unless they want to prevent some runouts. And Wimpy, he's not eager to let that happen. He wants to contest these repelling players. He wants to contest everybody before they even get a chance to make their entry. And at the very least, he'll stall out a couple of those players, but eventually they'll work their way into the small closet here, into electrical, and now they'll start pushing their way into this map and taking map control.
And Wimpy's just kind of monkeying around on the map, still pushing back over towards the double door, taking the long-range fight against the Iana as well, as I think that's the Zoe of Freak. Will get away, though, and land a kill. What
Oh
a
my
second!
lord!
The drive-by on the Freak has such a small angle. Wimpy is on one. He is not losing this map. 2 kills. The entry goes the way of the defense, and that completely shuts down not only your Zoe, your Iana as well, and Kento is still upstairs, and we've seen how he can be quite the force as well.
Well, here comes Mo trying to deal with this Vigil. First and foremost, he's going to have to just figure out where he is. I mean, it's hard enough to spot the Vigil. Now he'll use the EE1D scan to help him out, but now rolling around towards this long haul from Square, he's just going to get fried by Diaz. Mo kind of caught sleeping there. Call out is shut down. Another triple kill for Wimpy. It's all up to Forrest against 5 very, very hungry and aggressive defenders. There's one. He whips out the pistol and looks for the second, nearly getting it, but not quite. As Beastly will pop up and take that headshot. Arial Arise complete the 3-round comeback. They flick the switch. They turn on the Jets, and they tear apart the Wichita Wolves attack 3 rounds in a row. And take a look at this, Harrison. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, because coming into this map, Wichita Wolves, this is their map pick. They chose what side they wanted to start in the overtime period here. And well, they chose attack. Right now, Arial Arise have 3 defensive wins in a row. I don't know if that's going to stop.
Yeah, I mean, Arial Arise are on a heater. I think they just kind of figured, hey, Wichita Wolves know how to do a classic clear of this map, right? So what if we take those classic holds, that nonsense, and just throw it out the window? Let's just run around. Let's get aggressive. Let's meet these guys head on. We don't want to let them get comfortable. And that is the big thing. When you do not let Wichita Wolves get comfortable, when you meet them head on, when you keep them on their toes, get these opening picks, positions they don't expect, they fall apart. We have seen it from them time and time again. It was way more prevalent in Stage 2. They kind of fixed it up for Stage 3, but it seemed like that mistake is rearing, or that, I guess, hole in their gameplay is rearing its head again. Because Arial Arise, I mean, I love it. They are just running around and peeking absolutely everything. And at Wichita Wolves, despite having, you know, arguably the same amount, if not more, gun skill on average than Arial Arise. I mean, we've seen all 5 of these players on Wichita Wolves, you know, gun as well. They just can't control it.
And it's like you said, Harrison, Arial are doing a fantastic job of forcing the Wolves out of their comfort zone. And here it is again. Gomez,
Wow.
not 1, but 2 opening picks. Now he's going to be looking for a third. He spots the head and takes it right off. A triple kill for Gomez, dropping the diffuser. A kill happening off screen. I think that was Wimpy who ended up winning that other engagement. And it's going to be Forrest left alone against 5. What is that? 35 seconds into the round. Unbelievable turn of events. Arial are storming ahead to a lead. They'll be storming ahead to match point in no time because Forrest now has to find a miracle, and it really just seems that he is going to be sitting back and biding his time, hoping for empty picks, but I cannot believe what we just witnessed, Harrison.
That was incredible from Arial Arise. Wichita Wolves thought, hey, you know what? If they're going to play fast, we will too, and tried for a rush, but boy, was it swiftly dealt with, especially Gomez. A triple kill with the alibi. Wichita Wolves were lost in the sauce, twisting in the wind. Gomez, as you can see, very impatient. He wants to keep up the firepower. He wants to keep the pace, not take the foot off the gas. But Forrest is going to force the defense to cool down a bit, hit the brakes, say, hey, all right, guys. As he creates a nice little smiley face on the wall. Team, let's talk about this. We were doing so well earlier. What happened? Arial Arise just started peeking. Why are we getting caught off guard by this? We know what they're going to do. We all play ranked. People play like this all the time. I mean, hell, they've gone up against, like, Ferdy's Tacos. And then people do this in CL. For some reason right now, they just cannot control Arial. That's really funny. Wimpy actually got all the way down into sewers, avoiding the line of sight from Forrest. But Wichita Wolves, I'm sure their game plan right now is, hey, while they're doing this on the defense, and Gomez lands a beautiful shot through the window for his 4th, they're not going to be able to really do this on attack. Probably. All we got to do is win our defense, go on to the attack, and we need to expect the aggression. Watch every window. Be prepared around every corner for a player to be there. Because otherwise, Arial Arise, I mean, they look so on fire right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to just full send it on this attack, given that the aggression is paying off and the defensive aggression especially. Might as well just full send it and see what you got. But don't forget that Arial did take 2 successful attacking rounds, so why not make it a 3rd while you're at it? I mean, you've got all the momentum on your side either way. So if we take a look at, the round history for Wichita Wolves, they approached all of the bomb sites on this map and found 100% win rates on 2 of them. Tellers and Archives, winning that in both round 1 and round 5, and Lockers and CCTV, winning that one in round 4. Both Open Kitchen and CEO both went both the Wichita Wolves way and Arial Arise. They split those sites. So understandable to see them going down here to Lockers. And not only that, but this site, compared to Tellers and Archives, takes longer to clear the map to get there. If there is, say, a big dramatic rush attempt from Arial, they're going to have a lot easier time, in my opinion, rushing into Archives and Tellers than they will rushing into Basement. So I suspect the Wolves motivated by that just a little bit.
That would be pretty cool if Arial end up rushing, keeping up the pace and such. We'll have to see, though. I don't think they will. Yeah, they're not going to. They're going to be going for more of a normal clear, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take the clear itself with a bit of a quicker pace. I mean, you know, CCTV was a site that Wichita Wolves have only defended once and were successful on. And if I remember correctly, Arial Arise didn't really get to the site. They tried going for a vault take and then push down main stairs. It didn't work. So I don't know if Arial really know what's going on the site in its totality.
They may not yet, but they do know that they're dealing with a pretty significant extension. Both Callout and Forest, Castle and the Maestro, respectively, will be positioned here on this open area extension, as will Freak, and Freak will already be dealt with. That is the G8 from Gomez going Burr on the IQ, taking down the Malusi, and that is an opening pick. Yet another kill. That is, I guess, 6 kills in a row for Arial because of the flawless round in the previous one. They're now posturing and looking good once again. Still a lot to clear through, though. Abonai included on this extension, really hoping to stall this attack out before it can get anywhere close to the basement, and Abonai, playing with fire, will somehow win out a gunfight against Gomez and will escape with all but 1 HP to his name. This clear, though, from Arial is still going to continue, and still there remains 2 players in their line of sight. That's going to be Forrest and Callout yet again, who have yet to drop down and yet to play safe instead, really hoping to lock this down even longer. More dangerous, though, as the round persists. But same thing for Arial. If they don't deal with these 2 players, they are going to be in a world of hurt. Forrest goes undroned. He takes the life of Kento. Callout goes undroned as well. Arial making mistakes now left and right. Now they have to recover. This Beastly will do so, at least onto Callout. A good headshot finding one, but Diaz and Beastly, a 2 versus 3 with 30 seconds to go, and they still need to get to the basement.
Yeah, remember, this is a basement bomb site. This was just the clear. There's only 30 seconds left. Diaz will nade into red, but not find a single soul. Flash is going in as well, trying to facilitate the drop. No one from the defense is actively watching it, so Beastly will be allowed through. C4 goes wide. They've got pings on the players now, though, and Mo is just going to sit and bide his time. They know that the plant is going to have to come down, and that's going to mean it's going to be basically a 1 versus 3, make it a 1v2. An excellent shot from Diaz. Finishes off the low HP Abonai, and where's the cover? The Evil Eye's far too late. Beastly gets the plant. Is he going to be able to get out of there? He does, alive. Sure, he's low HP, but he's still up. And now the clock ticking away. The hatch is open. Arial Rise can establish the dominance, and the wall is soft. An easy kill for Diaz. It's a double for him, and there's one upstairs. Forrest is alone, and he can't do anything. The comeback is real for Arial. 5 rounds in a row. They take the map 8-6 in OT and send the Wolves down to the lower bracket.
A mind-blowing comeback, an even more mind-boggling final round. Arial making an incredible comeback in a 2 versus 4, I think that was, and finding almost a miracle to pull that one off. Wichita Wolves misplaying those last few moments dramatically, allowing the bomb to go down, allowing the attackers to get out of the site even after the bomb went down. I don't know how to make it clearer than that, but that is a toss of a round from the Wolves and a fantastic round from Arial Arise. And look at that. Our only series of the day that we are not going all 3 maps. Arial Arise close it out in 2 against the Wolves, who will now be sent straight down to the losers bracket and have to fight their way through a very, very tough uphill battle if they want to have any shot at the prize at the top.
Like you said, our only 2-0 of the day. I'm actually almost, I hate to say it because it's currently 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm a little disappointed we didn't go all 12 maps on the day just for the posterity of it. But we're finally done. 2-0. Arial Arise. That wraps up the rest of the games for today. That was our final map. Before we go, we got one more Analyst Desk segment to get through to wrap up the day. Joan and I will see you tomorrow. Desk, it's all you.